viewers? Patrick from Bob vs. Only back to the Videos episode number 5, a Making Decisions Week on Bob versus of the Day. And today's verse comes out of Song 86, verse 11, and it says, "Teach me your way, Lord, that I may rely on your faithfulness. Give me an undivided heart, that I may fear your name." And that's what that verse means, and let's get into it. So continuing with chapter 4 of the book, The Road Home, God's Plan for Christian Growth. Chapter 4 has been about union with Christ, and this is the final section titled, Crossing the Right Distance. Living between those present and future points is the transformative process of the Christian life. If we do not understand present union with Christ, we are liable to see God as distant. That faulty perspective makes us vulnerable. Consider the question Paul asked. In Romans 8:35 he says, "Who shall separate us from the love of Christ?" It is a rhetorical question, and the answer is of course no one. Yet when believers do not understand their present union with Christ, they think and behave as though separate from Him. They try to live only for Him instead of also with and through Him. Difficult circumstances, emotional swings, and failure to keep up list of Christian activities might appear to them to disrupt their bond with Christ. But if we know we are one with Him, we will not believe the lie that God is far away. Likewise, unless believers understand that union with Christ is also a future goal, they may not see the purpose of their present journey. God means for Christians to cross a distance, but it is not a distance between them and God. It is a distance in their minds between the lie that God is far away and the truth that they are one with Him. It is the distance between the first entrance of Christ into their hearts and the full surrender of their lives to Him, to His engulfing presence. The journey is from the fragmented heart of the prodigal to the undivided heart of the son returned home. It is not a change in location that has already occurred. Christ has come to live inside of us. The change occurs in mind and likeness. We shift from the image of the old man to the image of Christ. And only God Himself, living in His people by Christ through the Spirit, can convey His people along the road home. On that road, the Christian life is a discovery of oneness with Christ. Progress is not learning how to use Christian faith to fulfill personal goals, make life easier, or survive till we reach heaven. It is learning to embrace the presence and power of Christ in the changing circumstances of the present age. In that process, we are conforming to His pattern of loving surrender and obedience to the Father. In Christ, by the Spirit, God has embraced us, and we are learning to embrace Him. Along the way, we progress from the hidden oneness that is already ours toward the manifest oneness that will be ours at Christ's return. How do we do that? As we face the obstacles in our path, how do we overcome them? What is our role, and what is God's? Those are crucial questions for followers of Jesus if we are to answer them. We need to grasp more thoroughly how Christ lives in us. As we have seen, He is not merely a passenger. He carries us home. It is a work of grace. And here are some reflection questions. Is it easier for you to think of God as present or distant? What about when you pray? Do you start praying and worshiping by trying to get God's attention or with the assumption of His presence? By what means are believers presently one with Christ? How does the New Testament teaching that Christians are already one with Christ change your perspective? What do we mean when we say that union with Christ is both present and future? If we are not trying to get to God, what sort of distances are we crossing or overcoming? And what is the power source of the Christian journey? So next Wednesday, actually Thursday, we'll start chapter 5, titled The Spirit of Grace. And the verse to leave it with this morning is Psalm 27:4, and it says, "One thing I ask from the Lord, this only do I seek, that I may dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life, to gaze on the beauty of the Lord and to seek him in his temple." And that's going to the video. Thanks for watching. And until next time again, viewers, in every way, God's way is always the best way.